Hello everybody and welcome to my Latin Fever Dance Studio. Are you ready to have some fun? I kind of just took a glance and I saw everybody sitting, so you better get up and start warming up for what's coming up. Okay, I know you guys already know what we're doing tonight. You're in my dance studio because we're gonna learn to dance your favorite Latin dance moves. So get ready, and I'm gonna explain a little bit of what's gonna happen. And we're gonna have three different rhythms, the most popular and the ones that are gonna let you try through this pandemic, right? So, okay, let's go ahead and start. The first one is gonna be merengue. I'll show you the steps. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We go one step at a time. We're gonna start with the easiest one first, and we're gonna get it a little more complex as we go, right? So merengue is gonna be your first one. Everybody needs to dance that. It's really easy. The second one is gonna be reggaeton, because you know what? That's the fashionable ever. Everywhere in the world where you go, you're gonna hear a reggaeton, and you need to be ready to dance reggaeton wherever you go. So we're gonna do that. The last one is gonna be the hardest one, salsa. But salsa is such a classic, right? If you say Latin, you say salsa. So you need to learn how to dance the salsa. It's a little bit harder. That's why I say that until the end. And then after that, I have a surprise for you that you're gonna love it. So stick around for the whole program. Put on your shoes, and before we start doing that, I'm gonna introduce you to my DJ plus one. He likes being in the shadows. He doesn't want to be in camera. So, but he's here. He's gonna be playing our songs for us tonight. I also have an in-present um, student that she might show up at some point because she's very curious. And one thing that you need to, two things that are very important when we're learning how to dance. You need to listen to the beat, right? And then your body needs to move accordingly to what you're listening. Of course, you can just go crazy and do whatever you do, but the whole point is like you go with the flow of the beat. So make sure you're paying attention, turn up your sound so you can hear exactly what's gonna happen. And you can count. For example, at first you're gonna like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. So we're gonna go like 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you get more comfortable, you can just go ahead and start having fun. I'm gonna show you what things you can do, because I mean you can stay doing the same dance forever, but you know you wanna own it. You wanna be the center of the dance floor, and for this pandemic, you can just dance away, right? Forever. Okay, so before we start, I know you're anxious. I always, I'm famous for talking a lot. And so you need props. What are the props? Actually, your phone, a mirror. I have my camera in front of me. I have like a bunch of cameras in front of me right now. So make sure that you can see your feet. Make sure, it's very important that you see what you're doing, right? So grab something. It can be a mirror, your phone, whatever. Point it at your feet, and then I'm gonna do the same. That's the first prop, and the other one is I'm gonna leave it optional. Usually, when you go to the nightclub, you wanna put on your best shoes ever. But since we're learning, we're at home. Some of you I know are by the beach. You might be barefoot. Go ahead, whatever you wanna wear, barefoot. Actually, barefoot is easier when you're learning, right? So I think if you wanna do that, let's go ahead, and I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes because I'm gonna start doing my setup so you can see my feet, and I'm gonna ask you to do the same. And before do that, I know you're drinking your favorite beverage, so have a sip or bring it, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, I'm back, everybody. Now you see my camera is all the way pointing at my feet. I'm wearing some nice flats that I got, and they're very comfortable. So whatever you wear is very important, because you know sometimes like flip flops I wouldn't recommend because they're gonna fall off. So barefoot if you can do it. But I wanted to share this nice setting for you all. So the first dance that we're gonna do, if we all are ready is the merengue, right? I mentioned. And we're going to play a song that you guys are going to love. It's Suavemente by Elvis Crespo. But before we do that, merengue is like, my DJ plus one calls it the pee dance, which I think is funny, but it's true. When you're like standing in line waiting for that bathroom, maybe after you had a beer, you start like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So if that's easy to remember, I think it's funny to remember as the pee dance, right? But it's actually what I was just doing now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Pretty easy, simple, right? And then you'll see how we add some fun. Okay, if you're ready, DJ, please, Suavemente by Elvis Crespo.
Plastics, 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 plastics.
See? One.
She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay.
That's pretty easy, right? And then you can just
in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay.
Same.
In the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay.
1, 2.
Plastics. Plastics. Plastics.
Plastics.
Plastics.
Plastics in the bay.
Plastics. Plastics. Plastics.
See, I don't even like to think about it anymore.
She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. She's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. In the bay, she's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay. In the bay, she's seen dozens of plastics floating in the bay.
All right,
Plastics.
everybody, how was that?
Plastics.
Send you an applause. I know you're doing it and you did really good. I can feel it, right? So catch your breath, get a sip of your favorite beverage, and move on to the next one. And I was talking about reggaeton. We all need to know how to dance reggaeton. It's very important. We actually just last year we were able to go to Vietnam, and the first thing they were dancing, guess what? A reggaeton. So you need to know that. Exactly. So the next one is a reggaeton. You know it. You know it. I don't even have to mention. It's Despacito. Yes, your favorite by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee. So if you guys are ready, before we start, one thing about reggaeton, which is a little bit different than merengue, is focuses more on your knees and on your hips. So if you can move maybe your device a little bit so you can see, I'm going to move mine a little closer or wherever I can see more of my knees. See, like this, you can see my knees. Exactly. So when you do that, because it's more about the knees than the feet, right? And then actually more about the hips. This dance, I'm going to confess, I'm not the best one at reggaeton because it's kind of like I'm a little old-fashioned. But I got my learnings from my niece. She's the best reggaeton dance ever. So she taught me. She does it way better, but I'm gonna try. So okay, not more talking, more dancing, and DJ, please, despacito.
Despacito, he said he's even finding used gloves on desert islands. On desert islands, despacito. He said he's even finding used gloves on desert islands.
I'm not moving my feet
on
much.
desert islands, despacito. He said he's even finding used gloves on desert islands. On desert islands.
This one is a hard one. She taught me this one, but I can't just do it.
Despacito. He said he's even finding used gloves on desert islands.
My knee starts hurting.
On desert islands, despacito. He said he's even finding used gloves on desert islands.
I can't do it anymore. So
on desert islands, despacito. He said he's even finding used gloves on desert islands.
Lots of used gloves
on desert islands, despacito.
Disposable gloves. Disposable masks. All in the ocean. Oh yeah.
Despacito. He said he's even finding
I'm doing it.
used gloves on desert islands.
Everybody can do it.
On desert islands, despacito. He says he's even finding used gloves on desert islands.
And then you can always,
on desert islands. Yeah. Despacito. He says he's even finding used gloves on desert islands. On desert islands, despacito. He said he's even finding used gloves on desert islands. On desert islands, despacito. He says he's even finding used gloves on desert islands.
On desert islands.
On desert islands.
Awesome. All right, everybody. How was that? Oh my gosh, I'm getting hot here, and I'm not even at the beach like some of you all. I'm in my dance studio, which actually is the introduction, the inaugural class. So I'm so honored to be inaugurating my dance studio, Latin Fever, and at Siren Arts for my Transformer family. Okay, I'm gonna catch a little bit of my drink, get ready for the next one. I told you it's the hardest one, but I'm sorry, you're getting a little more loose. Danza is a classic. I'm sorry, salsa is a classic that you need to that. I'm actually much better at salsa than reggaeton. That's what I grew up with. And you know who's watching? Samira Paz from Cali. She's gonna be. I know she's really good at it. She knows what I'm talking about. Cali and el Valle del Cauca in Colombia are amazing salsa dancers. I'm gonna actually kind of teach you both the Colombian style and the Puerto Rican style, because it's pretty similar. But what I've noticed here in the U.S., what they teach the most is the Puerto Rican style, right? But I like them both, and it's kind of like the same thing. Puerto Ricans, by the way, are the best dancers ever. So I love when I see them dancing. I wish I could be as good. All right, so without going any further, guess what we're gonna be dancing? It's gonna be a New Yorkican, one of my favorites. It's Mark Anthony, and I'm gonna show you just a little bit of how it is before we start the song. So salsa it goes. I'm gonna do it sideways so you can see the Puerto Rican style, and I guess people kind of like seen this before. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I was noticing that I was already adding that little hip, but you know, if you want to just start it, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the Colombian is the same, but we kind of like go more sideways. So instead of going like this, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? We got it? Okay. DJ, I'm dying for Vivir Mi Vida by Mark Anthony.
Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks along the water's edge. Disposable masks, disposable masks, disposable masks along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge.
We have the whole pandemic.
Disposable masks, 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 disposable masks. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge.
That's great too.
Disposable masks along the water's edge. Disposable masks along the water's edge. Disposable masks along the water's edge.
Disposable masks. Oh my God, they're everywhere.
Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks have been popping up along the water's edge. Disposable masks, disposable masks, disposable masks, disposable masks, disposable masks, disposable masks, disposable masks along the water's edge.
Awesome, everybody. I know you're having a great time. I know you're getting tired. I'm sorry, because that's what happens when you need to learn something. You gotta work hard. So, but get ready for our last dance. I'm gonna take a sip of my water so you don't see my feet for a second. Okay, everybody, I'm back. This is what you've been expecting the whole night. Yes, because now that we're relaxing, already practice all our songs, all that, I want you to have just plain fun. And you know what's the most fun music to dance? Pop music, right? And one of my favorite artists is Madonna. She's my favorite artist. Actually, I danced many of her songs throughout many of my performances, so she's my favorite, and I know she's your favorite pop artist as well. So the last song that we're gonna play is Into the Groove, and what she says in one of her other songs, express yourself. So this is the time for you to go crazy. I don't need to instruct you on how to do that. You know what you're doing. Just dance away, and this is going to be the end of our classes tonight. I hope you enjoyed. I leave you with Madonna, and good night, everybody. DJ, hit me with Into the Groove. Bye, everybody.
The Anacostia River carries the waste into the Potomac River, then flows into the bay, spilling out into the Atlantic Ocean. The Anacostia River carries the waste into the Potomac River, then flows into the bay, spilling out into the Atlantic Ocean. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic. Into the Atlantic.
The Anacostia River.
The Anacostia River carries the waste into the Potomac River, then flows into the bay, spilling out into the Atlantic Ocean. The Anacostia River carries the waste into the Potomac River, then flows into the bay, spilling out into the Atlantic Ocean. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic.
Okay, keep on going, keep on going.
The Anacostia River carries the waste into the Potomac River, then flows into the bay, spilling out into the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
The Anacostia River carries this waste into the Potomac River, then flows into the bay, spilling out into the Atlantic Ocean. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic goes the waste. Into the Atlantic. Into the Atlantic. The Anacostia River carries the waste into the Potomac River, then flows into the bay, spilling out into the Atlantic Ocean.
The ocean. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed. You had some fun. This was awesome for me. Thanks, everybody. See you next time, hopefully in person. But before we do that, be safe. Okay, good night.